Hello and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Now, in today's episode, we're going to delve into a bit about mindset. We're going to look at why some people seem to succeed and why others just don't. And it all starts with our mentality and our thought processes. A lot of people think the reason that they're not succeeding is because of motivation, of genetics, luck. And these things might play some sort of a role, but it's not the full truth. Absolutely not. These aren't the things that mean that you succeed or that you fail. It's your actions over a period of time that will dictate your results, right? But some people seem to find getting the things done easier than others. And sure, that does come down to the plan that you have, the actions that you're taking, the way that you reflect, the way that you learn from things. But in today's episode, we're going to focus in on the mental approach towards challenge, towards the things that we have to do. So by the end of this episode, you'll understand the one big mindset shift that will take you from where you are now to consistently succeeding, the biggest self-sabotage actions keeping you stuck, and the differences between the fixed and the growth mindset and how this applies to yourself, alongside how to reprogram your thinking so you can start winning. So the single biggest difference between guys that succeed and guys that don't is the ones that succeed think long term. They think about the long term actions, the long term consistency. People that don't succeed, they're thinking short term, instant gratification. How can I get there as quickly as possible? They view it as a short term project, like a side hustle. I hope, like a shitty side hustle as well. I hope this works. I'll throw as much shit at the wall as I can and maybe something will stick. There's no long-term plan there. An example of this is a guy that's looking at this in the long term, knows one slip up, one weekend, whatever it may be, does not define him and his whole journey. It will just be part of the process. It will be learning material for him to take and grow from. Whereas someone that's looking at this short term will go, fuck, I've absolutely shit the bed here. This is the end of the world. I'll have to restart this whole process. Oh my God, what's going on? And if you're treating your health and fitness like a short-term project, then you're always going to stay stuck, because this is a long-term project, because consistency is what wins in this game. Now, there's a cycle that guys go through when they struggle. So they'll start off highly motivated. They'll go all in, balls deep. Then life happens. And instead of, viewing a certain setback as like learning material, things to reflect on, and go, okay, well, what should I do next time? They just see it as a failure. And it's not a failure. It's just material for us to reflect and go, okay, well, what would I do next time differently? What did I learn about myself in this experience? Where have I not made as much progress as I would have liked? And what happens here is they'll feel guilty. They'll lose motivation. They'll beat themselves up. They'll kick themselves when they're down. And then they either pack it in or they'll start again in a few weeks. And the reason, or the two reasons that this happens, is that thinking all or nothing. I'm either 100% perfect or I'm 100% out. I'm not doing both. I'm one or the other. And the other thing is they don't expect failures. They don't expect setbacks, and they just view setbacks as complete and utter failures. People that succeed know they're going to have setbacks, that they're going to have failures. You don't speak to anybody that's really succeeded in whatever it is that they're doing that's not had down periods. You look at Cristiano Ronaldo, Serena Williams, they will have had shit training sessions, shit that's gone on in their lives, and they've kept going and going and going. And from those setbacks, they will have learned from them. They'll learn from them, reflect on them, move on. So instead of fearing failure, expect it. It's going to happen. You are never going to go through this process and not have failures, not have setbacks. So just expect them. Expect the failures, embrace them, learn from them. And for you to really succeed, instead of just being purely focused on the outcome, what you really need to focus on is the process that's going to get you there. Because we're never just going to take one big step to go from where we are to the goal position. Okay, and having the end goal in mind is fucking awesome. That's great that you have clarity on that. But the way that we're going to get to that end goal is through the actions, the processes that we take every single day, every single month. So have the goal, have a granular focus in terms of what are the things that I need to do to get there. If we're looking at losing 20 kilos, well, we probably definitely need to change how we're eating. We need to eat less calories. We need to eat more protein. We need to move our arse a little bit more. We need to get into the gym and do resistance training so we're building and retaining muscle. Consistently doing these processes is going to be the thing that gets us towards that end goal. And again, expect to not be perfect with those processes. Expecting perfection is just setting yourself up to fail. Okay, if we can be 80-90% consistent on these processes over the long period of time, you get fucking awesome results. Now, a massive mindset that is keeping you stuck is the fixed mindset. Okay, so the fixed mindset is those people that just believe you either have it or you don't. You can't develop a skill, right? I'm really fucking shit at drawing, right? But if I put the work in, I could get better. Whereas people with the fixed mindset just believe, no, you can't. This is what you have. You're either smart or you're dumb. You're either fit or you're fat. This is just the genetics, what you've been given. What it really boils down to is they'll believe, well, if I fail, it just means I'm not good enough. They won't take ownership like people with the growth mindset will. People that have a growth mindset will look at it and go, well, yeah, I can improve. I have to work hard, but I can improve. They'll view failure or setbacks as reflections where they can learn from and go, okay, well, what can I take from this? Rather than, oh my God, I'm a failure, I'm never going to be good at this. And when we have a fixed mindset, it means we either quit when things get tough or we avoid tough situations because we're intimidated by them. For example, you feel like, oh, I've missed a workout. Well, I guess, I'm just not meant to be fit. I just can't be consistent. I just can't be this, I can't be that. And that's not true. And if we are to miss a workout, with the growth mindset, we'll just look at, okay, well, why did I miss it? What's the context? And learn from it. Assess things at the root cause rather than just go, fuck it, I'm a failure. I'm never doing that again. That's too hard. I'm not meant to be fit. Whatever it may be. What you need to shift from is I failed to I learned, right? Because ultimately, if you never give up and you keep learning, you keep adapting, you can't truly fail because you're just going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. And you are going to get better and better and better over time. And if you keep reflecting, you keep learning, you're going to learn, right, X, Y, and Z causes me to not be consistent. When my stress is high, I'm working more hours at work, this is where my adherence really dwindles. My food decisions, my choices start to become more poor. Okay, well, why is that? Oh, it's because I'm really fucking stressed because of all these hours that I'm working at work. Okay, well, how do we learn and change that? Maybe you can't change the work side of things, but what you can work on is how you manage the stress side of things. So how do we reprogram your mindset to go from fixed to growth? Instead of saying, oh, I fell off track or I failed or whatever, simply just say, okay, what did I learn from this? And it might sound so fucking simple, but just changing how we verbalize stuff, how we talk to ourselves, how we talk about ourselves makes such a huge difference. And what we need to do as well is, instead of just constantly relying on motivation, we need to have an identity shift. We need to identify as someone who trains, who eats well, who does these things on a consistent basis to become that person. So an example of this is someone who says, oh, you know what, I just really struggle to go to the gym. Identify yourself and mirror the actions of someone who goes to the gym consistently, someone who eats well, someone who takes care of themselves, someone who will find a way to make it work. And instead of aiming for perfection, aim to fail forwards. So you fall forwards and not backwards. because every single mistake that we make is learning material, and it's learning material on our very own individual journey, because there's only so much that you can take from a book or text or whatever it is, because we're all gonna learn and utilize things slightly differently. Like when we look at, say, the habit loops and how we change the routine to meet the same reward, right? We're going to all associate the routine with different things, because we all enjoy different things, and we find we hit the same emotions differently because we're going to enjoy different things and just value different things, and that's absolutely fine, which is why you, as you go throughout this journey, need to reflect and you need to learn your own journey. Now, I want to share with you a really, really cool example of this in practice from a long-term client of mine. Awesome guy. He'd been sort of chewed up and spat out by previous coaches, previous programs, and he'd gotten to a point where he was just like, I'm just not meant to be fit. I'm not meant to be healthy. I've tried so many times and I've just failed over and over and over again. Other people can do it, but I can't. But he didn't let that define him. He gave it one last shot. He was like, right, if this time doesn't work, then I know I'm done forever. I'm not going to try again. But he gave it one more shot. And what it really boiled down to with this particular client was the things that he'd done before were just fucking miserable. He was doing loads of high intensity training, feeling like he was going to puke in the gym. He was having an immense stress around making sure he was getting in the exact optimal amount of every single vitamin. I'm not taking the piss. The guy had supplements for fucking everything. And this particular client is someone that really struggles with stress, with organization and all of these things anyway. He associates very well with being able to 100% understand, okay, this is exactly what I need to do. Here's how I do it. And when he understands that, doing it for him is way, way easier. But he was going to these classes, these trainings, whatever it may be, and just being told, you need to do this because. And it was a load of fucking bollocks, right? And it was just creating way, way, way more stress. And what it left him doing was resenting the whole process. He went from being someone that used to really enjoy training to, I fucking hate training. You know, I don't look forward to going to the gym. I just sit at home and dread the fact that I have to go. And when I'm there, it just makes me feel like shit. I feel inadequate. I feel like I'm not good enough. So it was a challenging journey because he had all of these beliefs that he had to do things a certain way, that he couldn't eat certain foods, and that he believed he wasn't good enough. So he was very much stuck in that fixed mindset, fixed in the idea that he couldn't be what he aspired to be. But over time, he gradually moved into believing more and more in himself, because the way that we build confidence is by building undeniable proof that we are who we say we are. And over time, he was putting in the actions to get him to his end goal, which was to drop the body fat around about 30 kilos and keep it off for good, because he'd never been able to do that. He'd never been able to maintain before because he never learned how to. And what he ended up doing was losing 28 kg. He's kept it off ever since by not doing the training that he was doing before, because he's done resistance training with a little bit of cardio. The guy already does a lot of steps, which is awesome, and he's got an enjoyable approach with his nutrition. When we first spoke and I asked him what food he truly liked, he told me, like joking, because he has a cracking sense of humour, great personality, he jokingly said, oh mate, I really like burgers. So I said, cool, same. So what we did was we kept in homemade burgers of some sort throughout his whole dieting process, his whole journey. And when I first, gave him this, he was like, what the fuck? Because he was comparing it to what he'd done before. And what he'd done before got him to the position that he was in. And what gets us to one place won't be the thing that gets us to the next. We need a different approach. We need a different mindset, a different mentality. And that's exactly what this client had It took some time, it took some work, but just by adjusting and starting to believe in himself, he went on and did awesome things. He went on and did a photo shoot in a gym when he'd previously been massively struggling with high stress, high anxiety. And then he had his top off in the middle of a really, really busy bodybuilding gym in London. And that's going to pretty extreme levels. So you can do something along those very same lines too, just by changing how you talk to yourself, changing how you talk about yourself, moving into the growth mindset and taking ownership of your situation. And that's a really important thing, because people in the fixed mindset, it's everybody else's fault. It's never ever their fault. Whereas when we are in the growth mindset, we take things on the chin and we always take responsibility and go, right, yeah, I'm not here because I've not done X, Y, and Z. And that's what John really started to do. He really started to take ownership and go, okay, yeah, maybe the help I have had before wasn't great, but I've not had the right help. I need to get the right help. And it's up to me to get the right help. When he got that, he took the fuck off. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take some time and identify where exactly you're currently stuck in a fixed mindset. Really assess that. Take some time and be genuinely honest with yourself and start replacing the setbacks, the failures with, right, well, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? And shift your identity from, I'll try to do this, to, I am the type of person who does X, Y, and Z. I am the type of person who does this. So I really hope this episode was useful. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. Make sure you subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.